Dear Frontier, I think it's time we talk about ship interiors and why I think it would be an awesome thing to add to Elite Dangerous. Hello everybody and welcome. Over the last couple of weeks I've been thinking a lot about ship interiors and how it could be implemented into Elite Dangerous with minimum effort, still make a ton of money for Frontier, and add some really cool gameplay to the game as well. A couple of weeks back, one of the community managers mentioned on one of the official live streams, when asked about ship interiors, that obviously it's not something that's on the roadmap right now, and that we probably wouldn't want it anyway, since it would be boring. We would get tired of it once we've seen the ship interior 2-3 times. We're going to go back and watch it again, and it would basically be a dead feature. And that is correct to a point. I mean, if the ship interior is just empty corridors, yes, then it's absolutely true. We would get bored of it very, very quickly. So you're absolutely right that ship interiors cannot stand alone. They need to be supporting features around it. In the same manner that the brand new concourses we have in the stations would make very little sense and would be a very boring feature if there were no shops or mission vendors or bartenders, all that stuff that's been put in there to add gameplay around it. If it was just a station interior, we could walk around and watch out the windows. We would watch it 2 or 3 times for each type of station and we'll be done with it. So therefore, obviously there need to be supporting features. And I gotta come back to those because I think I have a number of decent ideas to what you could do with it with a lot of the already existing assets in the game. Another argument that was posed is that we would get tired of constantly having to spend 20-30 seconds or something like that running out of our ships or into our ships every time we had to go and do anything on foot. My counter argument to that would be, why do we have the landing pads then? Because that is exactly that. Whenever we land at a station on a landing pad, we black screen out and we appear on a landing pad and we run across the landing pad to an elevator that takes us to the concourse. That landing pad offers no danger, offers no player skill required to do so. It is just a run from a ship to an elevator that takes us into the concourse. It's empty. There's nothing you can do there other than go directly to the elevator. And if you want to really stress this argument a little bit, you could say Super Cruise kind of has the same thing. I mean, there's very little risk. I mean, yeah, if you're playing in open, then obviously there's a risk from other player pirates. But if you play in private groups or in solo, there is very little risk when you are in Super Cruise. Yes, there are NPCs that can interdict you, but I would argue, is that really a threat? So Super Cruise doesn't add anything to the game other than something very important, actually. And that is the sense of scale and some immersion to the game. And it's exactly the same reason why, of course, we have the landing pads and why I think that both Super Cruise and the landing pads should absolutely stay in the game as they are. I think it's wonderful they're there. The landing pads, as I see them, are there to give you that feeling when you get a new ship and you walk out to the platform and you see the ship in front of you. It's huge, it's massive, it's an awesome experience. And that's why they're there. You can walk around, see your ship from the outside, and appreciate your new paint job or your new ship kit that you put on it, or have a look at the new whatever you got of new ships. That's why they're there, to give you a chance to go and do that. Sure, you can go and do that on a planet side, but it's not the same feeling as that, you just got a new ship, you walk out, you see it for the first time, feeling you get in the hangars. So it makes sense they're there. It actually has changed the meta for me in terms of what ships I fly, because it meant that I've moved from flying a lot of larger medium ships now that I actually prefer flying smaller ships because I want to reduce that runtime. And it just means when I'm flying smaller ships, well, they have less internal slots. I need to think more about my ship builds, and it's changing the meta of ship builds, at least for me. So to go back with the ship interiors, I don't think people would necessarily get super bored with it. And if you were afraid of people getting bored of those gameplays, why don't we just remove the landing pads altogether and then just black screen us directly into the concourse rather than have to have that run across the landing pad? Because it serves the same purpose as ship interiors does. It is absolutely there for the immersion factor. Now let's circle back and let's talk about what you could add to ship interiors to give it some gameplay, to add some things around it. Now I don't have all the answers, I don't have a finished plan for this, but I have some ideas and I want to share. The first is repair gameplay. Now, we already have automated field maintenance units, AFMUs, that of course takes care of all our repairs. But what if there were an alternative? So there were 2 ways you could repair your modules. You could do it from your cockpit using an AFMU, or you could skip the AFMU, and you could go out and you could manually repair the modules yourself. This would give, I think, especially explorers some more options, where if you wanted to just go really fast from A to B on a neutron highway, you probably want to fit 1 or 2 AFMUs because you just want to go fast. But if you're out there for exploring, well, if you could go manually and repair the modules yourself, you would actually have the option to skip the AFMUs and give those internal slots to something else, something maybe a little bit more interesting. I don't know what it would be, but it would give people options, more options with their ships. And again, it would make smaller ships more viable, as you wouldn't be so constrained on your internal compartments. And this repair gameplay could also work quite well in a combat situation. If you have like multi-crew, you have people on board your ship, and their role is to keep the ship working. And as you have a pilot that flies around, maybe you're fighting a Thargoid or something, and oh, the port railgun is getting damaged, that it needs repair, and you send a crew member out who runs out there, and they try to fix it up, and they're like, oh no, you don't have to do it now, you can't offline it now because I need to go do this attack run. It's still working kind of, and you do the attack run, and then you communicate across and say, now you can shut it off and repair it, and quickly before we have to do the next attack run. All that stuff, and people have to run around and prioritize modules. And again, the bigger the ship, the further you would have to run. If you have to run from one side of the ship to the other to repair weapons, compared to smaller ships where it would be a lot shorter distances you have to run, so it would be easier to maintain. Again, giving feelings to the bigger ships that they are a little bit more cumbersome to fly, and they would actually require a crew if you really want to pilot them to their full ability. Again, you could use the AFMU, but using an AFMU mid-combat is difficult. Can be done, but it's difficult. And this is just suggestions, but I think repair mechanics is an obvious way to go. But of course, if ship interiors were there, it would be easy to take a lot of the existing missions we already have, on-foot missions, that we already have to go and to bases, upload some data, steal some cargo, those kind of missions could easily be transferred over, and then it would be like a crash ship, and your job would be to go out and explore that ship to find a piece of data, to find a piece of cargo inside it. Now you may argue, say, but what new gameplay does that add that's not already there on stations? And there is one important thing. When you go to stations or to settlements in Odyssey, if there are NPCs, they will be walking around the settlement grounds. And I can see them from 10 kilometers up, maybe not, but I can see them from quite far away, walking around down there on the surface, especially at night if they have their flashlights on. I can see the little light cones walking around. Okay, that's going to be NPCs. That means that I, as a player, will always have the element of surprise. Yeah, they can spawn in new NPCs, but I can hear the ship coming in from quite a way. So I'll always have that warning. I'll always have the element of surprise in those situations, meaning a simple sniper rifle on the rooftop and you've cleared the settlement grounds in a matter of minutes. So what I'm suggesting here with ship interiors and crashed ships is to take that element of surprise, take it away from the players, give it to the NPCs. Don't let the NPCs walk around the outside of the ship. Let them be inside. Let them hunker up in there. The ship is powered down. It's crashed. It doesn't work. But there might be NPCs in there. And you would have to be careful walking around, because you might turn around a corner and somebody stands there ready with a shotgun pointing at your face. And that's going to hurt a lot. Give that element of surprise to the NPCs, making it more dangerous. There could also be on a crash ship, maybe some of the crew members survived, and maybe the people in there is friendly and not necessarily hostile, just to give that little, that you have to make a quick decision, is this friendly or foe? There could be friendly NPCs, and if you have passenger cabins on your ship, you could maybe take them with you and fly them back to a station, kind of like a rescue mission. You can go and rescue passengers. That could also be a thing. You go up to talk to them in the ship, and they will then run out of the ship over to your ship waiting outside, and then you can take them away, that kind of thing. There's a lot of gameplay around that with like a rescue missions from crashed ships, I think could be fun. And also with pirates or scavengers taking over it as a little mobile base. But it could also be used to make the environment more dangerous inside the ship. I mean, this is a crashed ship, it's damaged, all kinds of weird things could happen. We already have a little bit of resource management with your suit power and your oxygen, and you need to make sure. But in a base, you always have a way out. You always have a relatively easy way to get back to your ship and get power again. So it's never really a big risk, I feel like. But if you're inside a ship, you could maybe have a door closed behind you all of a sudden because it malfunctions. You power it up and then maybe it will open, you run through it, but then it malfunctions and it won't open again. For some reason, it jams. What do I know? And you have to find an alternative route out of the ship. That would make it dangerous. That means you would now have to really begin to manage your resources. Think about where do you use your power to cut open doors in order to find your way out of the ship. That means it helps if you know the internals of the ship. So if you already own that type of ship that you're salvaging, Well, that helps because you would know the internal layout. Assuming it is the same as the one you have, then you could easily find your way out. But if it's a ship you're unfamiliar with, that could mean you're going to suffocate and add to the body count inside the ship. Now, I understand that things like these are not free to make. This costs money. This costs a significant amount of money to make. And at the end of the day, Frontier Development is a publicly traded company and they need to make back the money that is invested into the games, which of course makes sense. So for this, my suggestion is to have some kind of way to customize a room somewhere. Have like a captain's quarters or commander's quarters would probably be more appropriate lore-wise. Either you have it inside the ship, either it's a room inside the stations, or my personal favorite is it's a room inside your fleet carrier that you can decorate to your liking. You could essentially just reuse the mechanics that we already have for putting up the little bobbleheads on the dashboard, where there are fixed positions on each ship where you can put stuff, and you would have the same thing in the room. You would have fixed positions on the floor and a few wall decorations you could put up, and those would be fixed positions. You could choose different things, you could put those up. Obviously, if you have to start out with this in the beginning, having to pay for every single little piece of carpet or furniture you want, it's going to be a bit of a bottleneck, and it's going to be quite a bit of money sink for people to outfit a room. So in order to get this thing flowing, what I suggest is give people access to some basic stuff for free that just comes, everybody has access to it. Then make a few unlockable items that you can go out and do stuff in the game in order to get access to. That could be, let's say you have to go out and find 10 different planets with brain trees on that you scan. And after you've done that, you can go and take that data and hand it in somewhere, and someone said, awesome job, you've done a lot of brain tree scanning. Here's a little potted brain tree in a pot, and you can put that in your room. Congratulations, well done. Similar thing like with other like milestones. Maybe when you hit King in the Empire, you get a little like throne or something you can put in there to see, look at me. Or you could, again, wall decorations with decals make sense. You could, obviously, some of the more premium looking stuff, you would obviously sell that for ARX. That's where the money comes in, obviously. You sell wall decorations, you sell tables and whatever. Picture frames to put on the walls. Imagine how cool it would be if you could implement a screenshot saving feature in-game, and then you could have picture frames, you put them on the wall, and then you can put your favorite screenshots up for display for other people to see. Because I think an important thing of these quarters would be that it's something other people can go and visit and see. Obviously, with screenshots, it would have to be some kind of built-in system in the game where you can save your screenshots in-game, because obviously I understand we can't let people upload stuff and then put those on display in-game, as people could upload anything and also things that definitely does not belong in Elite. So there would have to be some management, some kind of restrictions to that. I understand that. Selling like picture frames and wall decorations and carpets and whatever, and give people options to either outfit it as like a living room, maybe they want to outfit it as like a command bridge, all kinds of different options for what do you want to do with these kind of rooms, and then let us go in and share them with each other so we can use those as social spaces. And it will give people like, oh, I really want that pretty couch over there, so how do I get that? Either you can unlock it in game, or if it's a special one, you have to go and buy it for ARX. And also be a cool thing to give out as community goals. If you could have like a little plaque you could put on the wall, say, hey, I took part in this community goal and I completed this, and you could kind of have a little trophy wall with all your achievements on or something like that. I think that would be cool. I think there's a lot of options there, and I know that personally I would love to see something like that, and I would also probably hand over a significant amount of ARX to outfit my room to my liking. But this is just the stuff that I came up with over the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who have a lot of other good ideas. I would love to hear them in the comment section, because that would be awesome to share them, discuss them down there, brainstorm, come up with cool ideas. I think could be really, really cool, because I really think the ship interiors could be adding a lot to Elite if done right. Thanks for watching. On your way out, please remember to go down, subscribe, and like the video. And until next time, I will see you guys in space.